عسى وناس الكل مرحبا بكم. Welcome everyone. I'm really honored today to host for a live talk my friend from Portugal, Filipe Carrera, who is international trainer, also university professor, specialist in management and marketing. And today our live talk will be focused on how to network, and let's network together. Filipe, thanks for accepting my invitation and welcome to this live talk.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Fares. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. So it's like 10 years friendship now. We know each other from JCI, Junior Chamber International, and you are international trainer. Before starting our talk about networking, how are things going on in Portugal? What's the situation during the confinement?
Well, the situation is not as bad as Spain, that are our neighbors. We don't have the death toll of Spain. We have a lot of cases, 25,000 or something like that. But it seems that we managed to flatten the curve. That is the big goal nowadays. Everybody's talking about flattening the curve. But let's see. I think we still don't know a lot of things, and there is a lot of things to be answered.
Yeah, of course, it's a mysterious time, let's say. It's a big crisis that the world is living actually with the confinement, and here in Tunisia, back to work from Monday on 4th of May. But it's
like me. We had the same thing. Back to work on 4th of May, but with a lot of remote work and some sectors only opening in 18th of May or even 1st of June.
Yeah, and this is very important because people were surprised with this crisis. People are not used with working from home, using technology to work or to make meetings, etc. The challenge is how to deal with that. For you as a professor, and you are a specialist in digital marketing, you used to work online, so it was not really something new for you.
Well, let me tell you a little bit of that. I've been doing what is now called remote work since the 90s. So more or less 94, I started working from my home office. So it was funny because at the time, there were several things that happened. One is that there was no internet like we know it. So it was few people had an email. I had an email, but I had no people to send emails. What was interesting.
You were alone.
So I had a fax machine. Okay. So I had at home a fax machine, and I use it a lot. So for instance, imagine, so I would work with other people and I would send a report. So I would put paper after paper after paper to get the 20 pages of the report going on to the other side. And I would be paying per minute of the call. So another galaxy in this. So since those times, I was working in a lot of digital projects. So in 97, I entered e-commerce projects, 97. So
97,
started doing classes on digital marketing 2001. So I normally say that I'm a kind of digital dinosaur, you know.
But you managed the change because it changed a lot, and you were updated for every new technology.
No, I know the works of Darwin, so I know that at the end of the story, who doesn't adapt dies. So I prefer to adapt. It's less painful than being extinct.
Yeah, I can understand that. You are Filipe Carrera, author of this book, Networking.
Oh.
Yeah, I have your book, man. I have 2 books. Okay. Yeah. So, Networking, your professional survivor guide, how to succeed using your networking skills. Many people are at home, actually, and we have internet. Maybe you can see films or something on streaming or surfing on Facebook. Yeah, like us. But
For us, for see us.
yeah. But the challenge also is to use that technology to network in this special period. What kind of propositions or tips that you can give to us?
Well, take the time to review your profile, what is, and to also to check what is your digital footprint, because you might have some surprises. So Google your name, put it on Google Alerts and things like this in order to understand what it is. And the other thing is that do something that nowadays is a buzzword, that is content marketing. So basically, you can share what you know and do it with others, like we are doing here. So, what in reality we are doing is that we are creating content marketing for both of us in one stroke. So, it's
Yeah,
a smart move.
yeah, that's a very kind of tips. Networking is an art. Is it given to all people, or we can learn it, or is it something natural? When we talk about networking, I'm not talking about digital networking.
Well, I had an evolution in my thought. I will tell you another story. When it was actually a JCI conference in Estonia, I
Yeah,
was in 2006, not this one that was in 2019. So this was the European conference of JCI that was done in Tallinn. And I met a member from Lithuania, and she challenged me to do some digital marketing courses in Lithuania. And I said, okay, that's nice. But she said, I saw how you mingle and you know a lot of people in the conference, so you have like an ability to network. And so could you teach that? And I, I was quiet. I didn't say anything, but the first thought that I had in my mind is, this is not logical because either you are a networker or you are not. It's not like something that you can learn. So that's the evolution. And then I start reading a little bit, and remember this, it was 2006. So we know about these new social networks online was very new. Facebook was new, LinkedIn was new,
yeah,
Twitter was new. So most of the authors were talking about networking like face to face. So I was coming from digital marketing, and I thought maybe if I put things together, I can say something a little bit different than the other authors are saying. So I put together a course that mingle online and offline. At the time, it was a kind of pioneer because there was this idea: I'm one person online and another offline. Some crazy ideas like this were normal. So it worked well. So I started doing a lot of courses about networking, and now even in college, I deliver modules about networking
mm,
because it became a soft skill that you can really learn. You can practice, and there are some tools that you can use. There are some tips and tricks, let's say. So my thought evolved on this from either you are not, to there are a lot of things that you can learn. And actually in my learning process, I learned that I was doing things well and others I was doing very bad.
yeah.
It's not to leave it to random issues.
Is it related to the personality also? Because I think that people who are introverted are not really able to network easily.
Well, that is absolutely true. But let me tell you one thing: you also can change from introverted to extroverted. Um, Let me tell you another story. I'm, I am what I call myself a recovering introverted. Former, yeah. I was so introverted that it took me like 3 months to arrive to the college cafeteria. Three
I
months,
don't
not
know that part on you. I don't know that part.
yeah. You know what my work is nowadays is doing
Yeah,
training and do classes and do conferences as a speaker across the
yeah,
world. And it is very hard to imagine that somebody that has this type of work can say, I'm an introverted. Yes, I'm still working in improving myself. So you can improve. But to all the introverts that are maybe listen to us, let me give a word of hope. What I found is that people that are introverted are the ones that are best networkers. Why?
Mm.
Because we, and I include myself in that group, we have an ability that extroverted people by nature don't have. We
Active listening.
know exactly. We
Yeah.
know how to listen. We know to shut up.
Yeah. Active listening is an art also. So it's not really affordable for extroverted persons because we want to speak. That's my case. We want to speak a lot. Thanks God, I'm a radio host, so so it's okay for me. I want to say hello to Katia Camino from JCI Brazil. Aida also, she's a coach from Tunisia. She said I confirm it. So for what you said about introverted persons, which is very important.
Hello
Um,
to
uh,
everybody also.
yeah. I want to be back to your book. So you can command this book on Amazon Networking, Your Professional Survival Guide. Why do you choose the word survival guide here?
Well, nowadays it seems to have even a different meaning, correct?
Yeah.
But m- the idea is like this: is that in order to you to have a career in a world that is much more interconnected than ever, either you really master some networking skills, or you will be just a number,
Mm.
and you will have difficulties in having professional career opportunities. So you can use this as a toolbox in order to survive. Again, or either you adapt or you get extinct.
Okay, let's take an example. I'm in a conference or in a congress or in seminar. People are here, and I want to go talking to speak with people. It's not really easy for us to go for people that we don't know. Uh, what kind of tips or process, if you want, that you can recommend to us?
Okay, I will give you a very strange example. Do you know this is a kind of stereotype? Okay, this
Mm.
type of guys that are uh, they are more visible in certain countries than others. That are like in a construction area or something like that, and a beautiful girl passes, and they are like, "Oh, girl, you're this, you are this." Okay, so I've talked with a lot of women across the world, and none of them will say, "Oh, yes, I fall for that every time when a man does like this." So if you analyze this in a rational way, you will think, so if they don't have any success with that, why they do it?
Yeah.
So, and I'm picking these guys as an example because basically they are statistical genius. Because in 0.001 they have success. But the funny thing is that they are not concentrated in failure. They are concentrating in success in
Success.
that 0.01, what is clearly crazy. Because we as humans, we are really afraid of failure. And if you start thinking about what is to have success, basically is a string of failures. So if you, we have a very famous football player, Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay,
Yeah.
so
From Portugal.
everybody saw a goal of Cristiano Ronaldo, but I bet with you that he failed many more times than he scored, but
Mm.
many more times. So if he has 100 goals, probably he failed 1,000 times, 2,000 times, or more. we have this problem of concentrating in failure. So every time that we are afraid of talking with somebody is because we are afraid of some reaction that can be kind of rude, or basically something like not interest. And going back to these guys that are saying the strange things to women, in their idea is that the woman that is not paying attention to them is the one that is losing the opportunity to being with this fabulous guy.
Yeah.
So every time that we are like, okay, I'm afraid of failing or something like that, think about this. This person that will not talk with you or something, that what will happen that is negative in your mind is that person that is losing the opportunity of connecting with you and your network. So,
that's nice tips.
So this is to seeing the thing in the different way, because basically we are so afraid of failure and we don't understand. And you can see, for instance, to give you a professional example, so it's not like guys saying strange things to women, you can see that best marketeers in cold calls are the ones that are aiming to the 2 contracts that they will get from the 400 calls. Those guys are machines. They are being insulted because you're in the middle of the dinner of somebody or whatever, and they hang up and pick up the next call, blah, 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 and they get insulted again, pick up, and suddenly they get 2, 3, 4 contracts. And the colleagues are like, oh my God, I have to do another call. So because they are concentrated on success. Because one of the interesting things, and I'm a guy that wrote a book about networking, and this will be surprising, is that you will fail in most of the interactions. Most interactions that you will have with people will be a failure. A very small portion will have some impact in your life. A very little portion will have a significant impact. And an almost nano portion will change your life forever.
Yeah.
So this is like playing the lottery. If you do a lot of numbers, you have more probabilities. If you are like, I'm not going to talk with this one, I'm not going to this event because I don't know anybody, I'm not going to this webinar because I don't know anybody there also. So it is opportunities that you lose.
This statistic coming from the author of the networking book surprised me. It's like something new for me. So all of our experiences, or a lot of experiences, will be a failure, but try again, and you will be successful one day on connecting someone new to you. Firas Abdelkbir from JCI Tunisia said, any tips to get the best things we can get from someone we met for maybe 1 or 2 minutes? Let's say it's like elevator pitch here.
Okay. I don't know if the question is on that side or if it's on the analysis of somebody. I understood it more through the analysis. So how we analyze somebody. But we can do it both ways.
Yeah, of course.
So in terms of the analysis, it's very funny because this is, again, something that we have to understand, that we are very primitive people. We are human evolution. It hasn't been so big since millions of years ago. So before any language, we would have nonverbal communication, basically nothing else. We wouldn't agree on meetings or something like that millions of years ago. So we would do some noises and look to the expressions and to try to understand. And that's why, for instance, across the world, you can see if somebody in Japan or in Australia or in Tunisia or in Portugal or in the Americas or whatever is afraid, is happy, is sad. It's very simple. These basic emotions, you can see it. So one of the things that we are not listening so much is to the nonverbal, because many times we like to be with this in our hands and we are talking like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell me more. So
And it's killing
we are
relationships.
not focusing on the person. So when we start focusing, our subconscious mind is absolutely amazing. Will start to give us information about the person that we are talking with, or even if we are not talking. Because think about this: if you see somebody approaching towards you, and I ask you what you think about this person, you will have an opinion. So the person didn't say anything, and you will have an opinion.
Yeah,
So
it's prejudice.
yeah, it is normal. It's not. It is based on previous experiences, and
Background.
and some things that are like kind of universal truths that we have in our mind.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. If I approach with my like standing like this, it's different than if I approach like this.
Yeah.
And I only did a rotation of the shoulders, like some centimeters at the most, I don't know. So, and it's unbelievable that we see this. If we are, because this is the difference basically. So primitive as this is the difference between the victim, or let's say the predator, and the prayer.
Yeah.
Okay. So predator, prayer. So very it is something like this, very, very, very simple. So if we talked on the other side, how to impress somebody in 1 or 2 minutes, you have to think that you start impressing before you open your mouth because of this analysis. So if you approach like this and you say, I have a fantastic project about what project? I'm not listening to you, because I think that you don't believe it yourself. So we are always very keen in giving more to the ones that already have it, and giving less to the ones that don't have it.
Yeah.
And this is a huge problem. So when people are like desperate, for instance, they are desperate for a job or something like that, you notice that, and you are not keen in giving them a job because they are desperate. So if they are desperate, maybe they are not so good. This is the thing that, because it's the survival instinct, so that's why the survival guide, that will come over you. You don't want to go around with another prey. You want to go with a predator. Because if you are like a predator, you feel secure. But if you are looking for security with another prey, you will be
Yeah.
eaten, basically.
So here it's all about the behavior and the how to react consciously during the networking, because it's not let's
Not
say it's
consciously,
not
but being aware that you have an unconscious mind that is a super powerful thing that you have, because your subconscious, your conscious mind, for instance, gives you the opportunity to analyze like between 10 and 15 information simultaneously. Okay, so your subconscious mind will, it is amazing, will get a lot of information simultaneously. And let me give you a proof how this works. So try to drive a car with your conscious mind. You will have an accident very fast, because you actually drive with your subconscious mind. So
yeah, I confirm.
if I sit beside you, okay, and you're driving, and in a moment I ask, why did you decelerate it 10 kilometers and turn the wheel 7 degrees to the left? You will not be able to answer this.
Yeah.
But you did it. And it was a terrific decision. Why? Because it's you let your subconscious mind do it. That's why when we start driving, we are very bad at it, because we are like trying to figure out everything in a conscious way. And suddenly we are aware of everything and we are driving.
I see. Networkers are really are people who are focusing more on empathy and emotional intelligence. How to develop the empathy? Because we have to know more about people in the other side and to know more about their feelings to connect them.
Okay, first of all, hello Munir. And how to develop empathy? I think that empathy you develop. Let me give you a beginning. I don't believe in coaches that don't have life experience. Okay, it's it's not a question of age, because you might have somebody that is 50 or 60 and doesn't have the life experience to
Yeah.
be a good coach. And you might have somebody that is on his 20s and has a huge experience and can be a fantastic coach. So I think that the best way of gaining empathy is basically to expose yourself to a lot of different realities, because suddenly your brain will start to understand, because it's like doctors. Okay, if you are in a very calm hospital where there is one person that enters the emergency room every single day, you don't gain the same amount of experience than a doctor in a central hospital that every 5 minutes 10 people enter. So because you will have a different kind of cases. So I think that we need to expose ourselves to a lot of experiences, and you may get it through traveling. You may get it for joining an organization like JCI, that
Yeah.
you can meet people around the world and have meaningful conversations with those and do projects and everything, and you will grow naturally. So I think that this is not something that you can go to empathy school.
Okay, nice. We have Makram, who is a salesperson. Please give us the technical or techniques to be courage, or to empower our courage to make new relationships with other persons.
Well, I like I said before, I'm a former introverted person in recovering, and the thing that I use to, let's say, to make the change was a very stupid and simple thing. Every time that you are about to do something, but you are like, oh, I'm too shy to do it immediately. That's it.
I see.
Do it immediately. So you don't think again, you put like an anchor in your head, do it. So it is like, you don't think, because when you start thinking, you will find 136 reasons not to do it.
If I understand that the first step is to listen to other people, and then maybe we'll have a topic or common topic that we can start together in the conversation. What are the first steps when you contact a person in a seminar or in a public event?
Well, I can give you some of the tricks what I do before when I go to seminars or public events. Let's say, let's talk first face to face and then go to online, because nowadays this will be a lot of them.
Yeah.
So there are some tips and tricks. So face to face, if you go to an event, go earlier. So what that gives you the possibility to talk with organizers, to talk with the speakers, because they are there waiting in order to start. So you have the opportunity to interact. And if you are interacting with the speakers, you will see that you, like magically, you get more popular than if you are sitting down only reading the program, because you start like, okay, this guy knows the speaker. And if you interact with the organizers, you know the dynamics of what will be the seminar, the conference, or things like that. So you also can be a source of information, because you get information from organizers. So you have a topic of conversation. And online, and also a little bit to offline is valid. If you, for instance, prepare yourself in terms of questions, check it out, who are the people that are the speakers, who might be there also. So you plan the event, because many times people go to online or offline events and they think, I will go there and something magical will happen. Instead of, let me prepare the event beforehand, thinking, okay, who I want to meet, what I want to accomplish, what answers do I need from that event, and suddenly you get connections, theoretically, magically, but it's not magic, it's preparation.
Yeah, it's preparation, and we cannot improvise the event. It's not coming. It's not coming by chance. The relationships, which is very important as a goal. Let's move to the online, because that's the period, and we are in confinement. People maybe will be back to normal life on September, so we'll have maybe a few months to go further on the networking art. So may I concentrate more on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Twitter? I don't know. So I'm asking you.
Well, LinkedIn is a very, very, very powerful tool. And let me give you an advice. Now is the time to reevaluate your career. For several reasons. You might not be able to return to your company, because that can be a possibility that the company goes busted because this is a crisis. So, or they might cut in staff and you might be one of the unlucky, or you might have to do other stuff, or you might be at this point already like, I was not liking what I was doing and I want to change. So, but this is not the moment to change. So I will have to, okay, stand.
Calm down.
Or you can rethink things and see what you can do. So one of the fantastic abilities that LinkedIn has, and I don't know if you know this feature, is, do you know that in LinkedIn you can talk with yourself in the future?
I don't know that. How it comes?
It's absolutely amazing. Can you imagine? You talk with Fares in 10 years, in 5 years. Can you imagine this?
It's artificial intelligence or AI? Yeah, I can imagine, but technically, I
It's available since the beginning of LinkedIn. Can you imagine? It's like a hidden feature.
Hidden features. It's not declared by LinkedIn?
No.
Just for experts, or it's open to everybody?
To everybody.
Let's reveal the secret now.
Very simple. Imagine that you, in 5 years, you want to be in certain place in terms of your career. You want to do certain things. So instead of thinking a lot about that and doing your, let's say, roadmap with a blank piece of paper, why not search on LinkedIn who is doing that already and contact that person and ask, look, can you give me some hints and tips and advices how to do that? How can I be like you are now?
So, that's it.
It is very simple. Again, let me tell you a story. Back in 2006-07, I started doing some international events, but it was like once a year. Okay, so it was like, oh, once a year. So I was thinking, I would really like to go around the world, deliver trainings, be a speaker in conferences, teach in colleges and whatever. Okay, so I went to LinkedIn and I found one English guy living in Houston, Texas. And I said, look, I want to be like you. I want to do what you are doing now. I want to do it in some years. Can we talk? and we arranged a call, and we were talking, and basically he explained how he did to be like I wanted to be in 5, 10 years.
I see.
And after that call, so the results are like this. I have books published in several languages in 80 countries. I've been doing speaking in conferences and doing trainings and being professor in several universities across more than 50 countries. So basically it worked.
Basically, it worked, but I think that the secret is what type of sentences that we should write to people to attract them, because I don't believe that anyone can answer on LinkedIn on how to be like them or like this person.
You know what is the preferred topic of conversation of anybody in the world? In Tunisia, in Portugal? What do you think is the preferred topic of conversation of anybody in the world?
Saying hi in the beginning, maybe. Starting with hello, maybe, and asking about the person, about his or her news. I don't know.
What is your favorite topic of conversation?
My favorite topic of conversation, I think it's not universal, because my favorite topic.
It is. I will prove you wrong.
My favorite, well, let's say, you maybe will say football, but it's not football for me. It's books, it's training, it's something like that. Maybe it's common for both of us, but it's not universal. I don't believe on that.
It is universal, and I will prove it.
Yeah, prove it now.
It's ourselves. And when you say that it's football, it's books, it's your vision about football. It's your vision about books. It's your vision about the things that you prefer. You don't talk about football like, okay, my friends say that football is like this. You talk about your vision about football. You have a favorite football player. You have a favorite team. You don't talk about the favorite teams of others, or unless you are saying, well, his favorite team is like that, but mine is, and you end up always in yourself. It is our favorite topic of conversation. So it is very easy to put people to talk about themselves when you ask them for advice. So when you say, and when you give somebody an advice, what are the first words that you use?
I want to advise.
You say, in my view, if I would be you, I. So
yeah.
If you frame it as an advice request, your chances are much higher than if I need your help.
I see. We have a question from Aida, who is a coach also. What was the most inspiring moment in your networking journey?
It is so difficult. It's so difficult to answer that, because I have been so many places and having so many experiences. I would say that it's not a moment, but it's like a kind of realization. I discover something that is a lot of fun, that I'm a kind of cultural chameleon, because I adapt very easily to completely different cultures and places. And I see that is the case because every time I go to a new country, I get invited again and again and again.
Yeah.
So, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction. And I normally say that I'm not a rich guy, but I have a very rich life, because imagine having this type of life, arriving to any place in the world and I don't have a guy with some paper saying Mr. Carrera. I have somebody waiting for me and saying, Philippe, I'm here.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
from then on, we go to the restaurant where all the locals go. I stay at homes of people. I don't
Home
stay at
hospitality. Yeah.
fancy hotels and things like this. Sometimes I stay, but I stayed in apartments across the world, not because I was doing Airbnb or couch surfing, but in a way I was doing couch surfing, but in houses that of people that I knew from before. So this is quite an experience, and on that way also I get much more information from how is local life, and that also reflects in what I give as a training, and also in the empathy that we talked before. So it's like a cycle, like goes and on and on and on and on.
I see. Karim Akoud from JCI is a senator. I like your Italian English. He's Portuguese, Karim. Easy to understand. It's Portuguese English, so easy to understand. Thank you, Karim, for being with us. Also, I want to ask you something very important. You are coming from different culture from me, and you have the ability to adapt yourself everywhere. To respect the culture of other people, to be also in home hospitality, which is a culture in JCI or in other organizations. So, do you prepare before? Do you ask some questions? What hurts people? What frustrates people? To not make a mistake.
You know, I will tell you another story. Since I was like 6 years old, I
Hmm.
was absolutely crazy about seeing the news and reading the newspapers, but especially one part of the news and the newspapers,
Mhm.
international. So I come from a very humble home. So my parents wouldn't have the ability to travel with me. So the first time I enter an airplane, I was 21. Okay, so it's not like nowadays that my kids enter a plane when they were like 2 and 4 or something like that. They were their first trip. So and now this is more common. So the
Yeah.
one way I had to travel, and it was the gift that my parents would give me, and I would be very happy to receive it, would be with an atlas. So I was always traveling with my fingers. And then I had natural curiosity to understand the places. So so I would say that I prepare a whole life for this because I was reading about the things that people don't talk about it. So um, it is very normal that a lot of people knew about Paris or London or New York, but I would know the strange things. I would know where all the capitals of the world. I would know how to locate all the countries in the world. I would know what type of government they would have, what type of culture. So it was crazy. Of course, I continue that, and I talk a lot with people in terms of getting a lot of answers. So, in a way, when you have a network like JCI, every time there is trouble in some country, uh, you can talk and understand the situation with a local point of view. Because nowadays, it has been always like this, but nowadays we have this feeling that we have much more news outlets, and you have diversified news, but basically a lot of the news, they have their own agendas, or they follow an agenda that is not even their agenda. So
I
in
see.
order to have a complete picture, you need to do a bit of mixture of agendas, and if you have a local vision of it, it will be even more interesting.
I see. What about e-reputation? Because when we
Sorry,
talk about,
we got a little bit of noise. How about?
is it okay now? Is it okay
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Nice. So, what about the e-reputation? Because it's very important for people who want to network online. So, how to conserve it, how to preserve it, and how to enlarge our network based on the reputation.
Okay. Nowadays, it's very easy to destroy a reputation and very easy to construct it also. I would say that has been always like that. You can lose your reputation very fast, and you can take years and years to build a reputation. So with that in mind, you have to understand that nowadays you have the possibility to build a reputation by sharing. So the more you share, the more content you share, the better you manage some reputation crisis. So
I see.
You know, there will be always in life somebody that doesn't like you.
Of course.
I always give two examples that are like consensual people. Okay, you have Gandhi. Okay, Martin Luther King.
Luther King.
Yeah, so these are good people that had an influence in history. But you know what? They were assassinated. Somebody didn't like them.
Yeah, of course.
You cannot please everybody. It's not possible.
As Steve Jobs said, if you want to make all happy, sell ice cream, don't be a leader. So that's it. We cannot make all happy.
It is impossible to make everybody, unless you do absolutely nothing. If you are, let's say, a vegetable. If you are a vegetable, nobody will say good things or bad things because you don't exist, basically. So you have nowadays you can use this online world in order to share content, go directly. So you don't have access to radio, you don't have access to TV, you don't have access to newspaper. You can create your content. Never in the history of mankind that happened. Never. This is the first time.
Muad from JCI Morocco said, you are telling story. Do you find that the art of storytelling is one of the success factors of people who are very good networkers?
It's very simple. Is that when you tell a story, you help memory. So, and we are wired to understand stories. And stories have been everywhere since the beginning of mankind. So even when we were not able to tell a story with words, you see those cave paintings, you know? So that was Instagram in prehistoric times. So basically people would look to the images and they would say, so they would tell the story like this. So you understand that one of the images was me.
Yeah.
And there wasn't even an image. So I told you a story without talking.
I see.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So storytelling is paramount because we learn as a kid all of the information that we got was with stories, and there is three magical ingredients for stories. I can tell you also. Today we are talking about magic. So three. So first of all, you have a character. So you give it has to be an interesting character. It doesn't mean that he's a hero. It can be a villain, okay? But it has an interesting characterization. So you explain about the character. Second, you have a challenge to overcome, something that has to be difficult. And third, you have a memorable ending. And if you have a memorable ending, people will remember because it's a memorable one. And Rela is saying imagination. You know that one of the things that we have is that when we are telling stories, we can put images in the heads of people. So let me give you an example. So the other day I entered a coffee shop and it was full of people. And the barista was like 2 meters high, very, very fat. So now you saw a coffee shop, you saw a barista, and you saw a very fat person. I put it in your mind.
Yeah.
Mine person was different than yours, but you did the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I said imagine. I said imagine, and I start describing.
Yeah, that's it. new generation are not really distinguishing the differences between professional social media and the other kind of social media like Facebook or Twitter, etc. For you, should we have the same behavior both on, for example, LinkedIn or Facebook, or it's different?
I normally give an example to explain that we think that, okay, when we are talking about the online world is different than the real world. But let's go to the offline world. So you go to a wedding, okay? You go to a wedding and it's a nice wedding and everybody's partying, and you see a couple that starts an argument. And to really make it really bad, the guy slaps the girl in the middle of the wedding, okay? You don't know this guy, you don't know this girl, but you really, oh, what the hell? This was really, really bad. And that was Sunday or Saturday, better. So next, let's put it neutral, Tuesday, you are doing recruitment and you ask, okay, so the next person can enter for the interview. And the guy that sits in front of you is the guy that slapped the girl in the wedding. Will you do it? Will you only judge in professional terms this guy?
I don't think so.
So the thing is that we always see people in a 360 vision. So that's why in interviews we ask, so tell me what you like to do in your spare time. Why? Why is that important that I'm fishing? Because I want to understand the person. So basically, social networks, personal and professional, are more or less the same. They are part of this 360 vision of somebody. That's the way that we relate with people. We don't relate with people. I only relate in professional terms. I don't care anything about the personality of the person. Either, unless you are a sociopath, you don't do it like that.
I see. So when you will put something like a comment or a status on Facebook, it will count on your reputation, and maybe people will have another idea about the person.
Let me give you an example. Imagine one guy that says on his LinkedIn profile that he's very creative, and the only thing that he puts on Facebook is quotations of others.
Yeah.
So
that's not credible. Yeah. Problem of credibility. I see.
It is very strange.
Yeah, still have 8 minutes together. So people, I want to say hi to Senator Walid Bourawi, Senator Andreas from Germany, also people following us on this live talk. So I want to give you the floor now to give us maybe some other tips or techniques to enlarge our network and to take the opportunity of the confinement now, maybe to create new opportunities or business focus.
Okay, so I think that nowadays, especially at this point, at this junction in time, we have to understand that we are living a kind of revolution worldwide, that everything will change in terms of the way that we work, that we relate, that we learn, that we market ourselves. It will be much more digital, but that doesn't mean that now everything will be digital, nothing face-to-face. I think that nowadays we will give much more value to face-to-face interaction. But it seems strange because now everything is going to digital. The thing is that we didn't value enough. Let me give you an example. Before this crisis, you would go to a restaurant, to a bar, and you would see people in front of each other like this.
Yeah.
So they are interacting face to face. Theoretically, yes. In reality, nope. Because they don't value that being in front of each other, having the possibility of having a meaningful conversation at that precise moment. It is something meaningful. So they are talking with people that are like 2 meters away, 3,000 kilometers away, and they are not talking with the person in front. So this was because I can always talk with that person. I can always meet them. So each day that is passing with this isolation, this social distancing, we will value much more the moments of closeness.
Yeah.
Because it's like we are eagering that. I need that. I need that. So also there is a comment from Andreas that I would like to comment. That is also emails are letters of the digital age. Yeah, but you know that letters and emails have the same problem. 93% of the communication is out. So when you are writing, there is no non-verbal communication. That's why when we are reading a letter or an email or an instant messaging from somebody, we say, I read between the lines. And reading between the lines is a tryout of having non-verbal. But the problem is that we will read it depending on the judgment that we do about the person that is sending us. So if we like the person that is sending us, and it's a very harsh message, we probably will say, well, it's a harsh message, but I understand why he or she's writing like this. But if you don't like that person and it's a very polite message, you will say, oh, such a sarcasm, such an irony. Because I know how to read between the lines. What it really means. So that's the problem. So
interpretation,
we write too much. And now we have the means to have intelligent conversation and have quick feedback like this. And we are like writing. Because in a way, we are a bit cowards. We are not we are not firm in what we are saying. And sometimes we have the reaction. We have fear of the reaction of others.
Okay, nice. Last question coming from Amir. I have a question: how to start a friendship relationship with an introvert, shy person? If you have a tip or advice for that.
So we are the extroverted, and we want to start with the introvert.
Yeah.
We know if you are the extroverted, you have no difficulty on that. I would say that the problem would be how to be an introverted and start new relationships.
Yes.
Well, that was my case until I was in college, until I did that click of, okay, I will not do it because I'm shy, so I have to do it right now. And I didn't stop. And I did it once, and it worked well. And I did it twice, it worked well. I did it third, and it worked well. And suddenly, you know, in college, they have like the student association, okay? So I stand up for elections in the last year that I could. So fourth year in college, I stood for elections. And those elections, normally they are not a lot of people voting, but in those elections, a lot of people voted. So imagine this, I had 80% of the votes, 80% in 3,000.
Wow.
So it was like a kind of popularity context almost. And it was not only one list, there was like 5. So the others had to split the 20 remaining.
I see.
So you can change. There is no genetical thing about being introverted. When I was a kid, I was very extroverted. When I was like 6 years old, I was always saying that I had like dozens of girlfriends, because every girl that I was talking is like, you are my girlfriend, you are my girlfriend. Probably I was like that. And suddenly I was like an oyster.
I see. So last message from you to JCI members. Let's focus on JCI, our common ground. How can JCI members take the opportunity of that period, especially in Tunisia? A lot of JCI members are students, so they are at home actually. What type of message that you want to give to them as a board member of senators in Europe, also as a senator, as a founder of JCI Portugal.
Well, a funny thing is that this is the second time that you asked me to do this. The last time, it was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
November 2009 in Tunis.
Yeah, the World Congress.
And I would say more or less the same thing. Take the opportunity of this organization to open yourself to the world. Because this is the big advantage of an organization like JCI. It can be your network in order to open to the world. And you are a good example, Fares, of that, because you're at this point, you are there in the curfew, but you have been a lot of places. I've seen you going around. I follow you on Facebook. I see. And there is bad circumstances now. You cannot leave. I cannot leave. But you are in touch with a lot of people. The other day was Mark. The other day was Lars. And going like this.
Yeah, of course.
So you can connect. And you see that we are a very, very friendly community. That if you invite us, we go. It's meaning online or offline, we are there.
Yeah.
So take advantage of this, because it will be a kind of competitive advantage to be so open to the world, to understand cross cultures, and to make bridges where others are destroying bridges.
Thank you so much. I want to mention again your books. So we have Networking, Your Professional Survival Guide. It's available on Amazon, Filipe Carrera. And you have another one. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to write something on this book, because I contributed a little bit with 2 pages in this book with other trainers, Communicate 2.0, The Art of Communicating in the 21st Century, Filipe Carrera, and other books also available on Amazon. Thank you again. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Aida. Thank you, Amir, all the senators and all people watching us. It will be available online on my YouTube channel, Fares Ben Souilah, and also Google Filipe Carrera, filipecarrera.com, and also you have a YouTube channel. You are available on all the networking, let's say, social media. Thank you again.
On my website, you can find everything. So
thank you again for this opportunity, Filipe. It was my pleasure, and hope to see you soon. And as we said in JCI, hope to see you soon somewhere in the world. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.